Phineas Gage, when the brain changed personality. Sometimes a single moment can change everything. In 1848, a railway worker named Phineas Gage survived one of the most extraordinary accidents in medical history. In doing so, he helped psychologists understand something fundamental about the brain, that it plays a powerful role in shaping personality, behavior, and self-control. Phineas Gage was 25 years old and working as a foreman on a railway construction site in Vermont, in the United States. He was well known by those around him as responsible, friendly, and reliable. He planned carefully, worked hard, and was trusted by his employers and co-workers. Then, one day in September 1848, something went terribly wrong. While preparing an explosive charge to clear rock, a spark ignited the gunpowder too early. A long iron rod, more than a meter in length, was blasted upward with enormous force. It entered Gage's face, just below his left eye, passed through the front part of his brain, and exited through the top of his skull. Amazingly, Phineas Gage survived. Within minutes, he was conscious and able to speak. Over time, he physically recovered far better than anyone expected. He could walk, talk, and remember events. At first glance, it seemed as though he had escaped the accident almost unharmed. But something had changed. Although Gage's memory and intelligence appeared largely intact, people around him began to notice a dramatic shift in his personality. The man they knew no longer seemed like the same person. Friends and co-workers described him as impulsive and impatient. He became rude, unreliable, and struggled to control his emotions. He found it difficult to plan ahead or stick to decisions, and he had trouble holding down a job. One doctor famously remarked that Gage was no longer Gage. This change deeply puzzled scientists. How could a physical injury alter someone's behavior, emotions, and personality, while leaving their basic thinking and memory mostly intact? Later analysis of the accident revealed that the iron rod had damaged part of Gage's frontal lobes, especially areas at the front of the brain. These regions are now known to be crucial for decision-making, emotional regulation, social behavior, and personality. At the time, many people believed that the brain worked as a single unified whole. Phineas Gage's case challenged that belief. It suggested that different parts of the brain have different functions, and that damage to specific areas could produce specific changes in behavior. Gage's accident became one of the earliest and most important pieces of evidence linking brain structure directly to behavior and personality. His case helped lay the foundations for neuropsychology, theories of brain localization, and modern understanding of the frontal lobes. Although Phineas Gage struggled for many years after the accident, later evidence suggests that he may have partially recovered over time. He worked in different jobs and eventually became a stagecoach driver in Chile, a role that required planning, responsibility, and self-control. This hints at the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize, even after serious injury. Over the years, some early reports of Gage's behavior may have been exaggerated. Modern psychologists believe his personality changes were real, but likely more complex and subtle than first described. Even so, his case remains one of the most influential in the history of psychology. At its heart, the story of Phineas Gage shows us that the brain is not just responsible for thinking and memory. It shapes who we are, how we behave, and how we relate to other people. It also shows both the fragility and the resilience of the human brain. So the next time you think about personality, decision-making, or self-control, remember this: much of who you are depends on the delicate balance of brain systems, a truth revealed by a railway worker who survived the impossible in 1848 and changed psychology forever.
If you enjoyed our channel, please click subscribe.